Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again, and now I will be reading Chapter 5 of The Hunger Games. So if you're in a physical copy of the book, we're looking at page 61. So I'll give you a second to pull it up, and I will begin reading. Okay, so again, I'll read through it, and then there'll be parts where I'll pause and kind of talk about a few things that we should be picking up from that section, but if you have any questions, obviously contact me. Rip! I grit my teeth as Vina, a woman with aqua hair and gold tattoos above her eyebrows, yanks a strip of fabric from my leg, tearing out the hair beneath it. Sorry, she pipes in her silly capital accent. You're just so hairy. Why do these people speak in such high pitch? Why do their jaws barely open when they talk? Why do the ends of their sentences go up as if they're asking a question? Odd vowels, clipped words, and always a hiss on their letter S. No wonder it's impossible not to mimic them. Vina makes what's supposed to be a sympathetic face. Good news, though. This is the last one. Ready? I get it. A grip on the edge of the table I'm seated on and nod. The final swath of my leg hair is uprooted in a painful jerk. I've been in the remake center for more than 3 hours and I still haven't met my stylist. Apparently, he has no interest in seeing me until Vina and the other members of my prep team have addressed some obvious problems. This included scrubbing down my body with a gritty foam and that has removed not only the dirt but at least 3 layers of skin, turning my nails into uniform shapes, and primarily ridding my body of hair. My legs, my arms, my torso, underarms, and parts of my eyebrows have been stripped of the stuff, leaving them plucked bird, ready for the roasting. I don't like it. My skin feels sore and tingly and intensely vulnerable, but I have kept my side of the bargain with Hamish, and no objections has crossed my lips. You're doing very well, some guy named Flavius. He gives his orange corkscrew locks a shake and applies a fresh coat of purple lipstick to his mouth. If there's one thing we can't stand, it's a whiner. Grease her down. Vina and Octavia, a plump woman whose entire body has been dyed a pale shade of pea green, rub me down with a lotion that first stings but then soothes my raw skin. Then they pull me from the table, removing the thin robe I've been allowed to wear off and on, and stand there completely naked as the 3 circle me, wielding tweezers and removing the last bits of hair. I know I shouldn't be embarrassed, but they're so unlike people that I'm no more self-conscious than if a trio of oddly colored birds were pecking around my feet. The 3 step back and admire their work. Excellent. You almost look human, like a human being now, says Flavius, and they all laugh. I force my lips into a smile to show how grateful I am. Thank you, I say sweetly. We don't have much cause to look nice in District 12. This wins them over completely. Of course you don't, you poor darling, says Octavia, clasping her hands together in distress for me. But don't worry, says Vina. By the time Senna is through with you, you're going to be absolutely gorgeous. We promise. You know, now that we've gotten rid of all the hair and filth, you're not horrible at all, said Flavius encouragingly. Let's call Senna. They dart out of the room. It's hard for me to hate my prep team. They're such total idiots, and yet, in an odd way, I know they're sincerely trying to help me. I look at the cold white walls and the floor and resist the impulse to retrieve my robe. But this Senna, my stylist, will surely make me remove it at once. Instead, my hands go to my hairdo, the one area of my body my prep team had been told to leave alone. My fingers stroke the silky braid my mother so carefully arranged. I left her blue dress and shoes on the floor in the train car, never thinking about retrieving them. Of trying to hold on to a piece of her of home. Now I wish I had. The door opens and a young man who must be Senna enters. I'm taken aback by how normal he looks. Most of the stylists they interview on television are so dyed, stenciled, and surgically altered they're grotesque. But Senna, close cropped hair appears to be a natural shade of brown. He's a simple black shirt and pants. The only concession to self-alteration seems to be the metallic gold eyeliner that he has applied with a light hand. It brings out the flecks of gold in his green eyes, and despite my disgust with the capital and their hideous fashions, I can't help thinking how attractive it looks. Hello, Katniss. I'm Senna, your stylist, he says in a quiet voice somewhat lacking the capital inflections. Hello, I venture cautiously. Just give me a moment, all right? He walks around my naked body, not touching me, but taking in every inch of it with his eyes. I resist the impulse to cross my arms over my chest. Who did your hair? My mother, I say. It's beautiful, classic really, and in almost perfect balance with your profile. She has very clever fingers, he says. I had expected someone flamboyant, someone older trying too desperately to look young, someone who viewed me as a piece of meat to be prepared for a platter. Senna has met none of these expectations. You're new, aren't you? I don't think I've seen you before, I say. Most of the stylists are familiar, contestants in the ever-changing pool of tributes. Constants in the ever-changing pool of tributes. Some have been around my whole life. Yes, this is my first year in the game, said Senna. So they gave you District 12, I say. Newcomers generally end up with us, the least desirable district. I asked for District 12, he says without further explanation. Why don't you put on your robe and we'll have a chat? Pulling on my robe, I followed him through a door into a sitting room. 2 red couches face over a low table. 3 walls are blank, the 4th is entirely glass, providing a window to the city. I can see by the light that it must be around noon, although the sunny sky has turned overcast. Senna invites me to sit on the couches and takes a place across from me. He presses a button on the side of the table. The top splits, and from below rises a second tabletop that holds our lunch, chicken and chunks of oranges and a creamy sauce laid in a bed of pearly white grain, tiny green peas, and onions, rolls shaped like flowers, and for dessert, a pudding the color of honey. I try to imagine the assembly of the meal myself back home. Chicken are too expensive, but I can make it with wild turkey. I need to shoot the second turkey to trade for an orange. The goat milk would have to be substituted for cream. We can grow peas in the garden. I'd have to get wild onions from the woods. I don't recognize the grain. Our own tesserae ration cooks down to an unattractive brown mush. Fancy rolls would mean another trade with the baker, perhaps for 2 or 3 squirrels. As for the pudding, I can't even guess what's in it. Days of hunting and gathering for this one meal, and even then it would be a poor substitution for the capital version. What must it be like, I wonder, to live in a world where food appears at the press of a button? How would I spend the hours I now commit to combing the woods for sustenance if it were so easy to come by? What do they all do with these people in the capital, besides decorating their bodies and waiting around for a new shipment of tributes to roll in and die for their entertainment? I look up to find Senna's eyes trained on me. How despicable we must seem to you, he says. Has he seen this in my face or somehow read my thoughts? He's right, though. The whole rotten lot of them is despicable. No matter, says Senna. So Katniss, about your costume for the opening ceremonies. My partner, Portia, is the stylist for your fellow tribute, Peeta. And our current thought is that to dress you in complimentary costumes, says Senna. As you know, it's customary to reflect the flavor of the district. For opening ceremonies, you're supposed to wear something that suggests your district's principal industry. District 11, agriculture. District 4, fishing. District 3, factories. This means that coming from District 12, Peeta and I will be in some kind of coal miner's getup. Since our baggy miner jumpsuits are not particularly becoming, our tributes usually end up in skimpy outfits and hats with headlamps. One year our tributes were stark naked and covered in black powder to represent coal dust. It's always dreadful and does nothing to win favor in the crowd. I prepare myself for the worst. So I will be in a coal miner outfit, I ask, hoping it won't be indecent. Not exactly. You see, Portia and I think that coal miners are things very overdone. No one will remember you in that. And we both see it as our job to make District 12 tributes unforgettable, says Senna. I'll be naked for sure, I think. So rather than focus on coal mining itself, we're going to focus on the coal, says Senna. Naked and covered in black dust, I think. What do we do with our coal? We burn it, said Senna. You're not afraid of fire, are you, Katniss? He sees my expression and grins. A few hours later, I'm dressed in what will either be the most sensational or the deadliest costume in the opening ceremonies. I'm in a simple black unitard that covers me from ankle to neck, skinny leather boots laced up to my knees, but it's the fluttering cape of streams of orange, yellow, and red that matches the headpiece and define this costume. Senna plans to light them on fire just before our chariot rolls out onto the street. It's not real flame, of course. You're just a little synthetic fire Portia and I came up with. You'll be perfectly safe, he says, but I'm not convinced. I won't be perfectly barbecued by the time we reach the city center. My face is relatively clear of makeup, just a bit of highlighter here and there. My hair has been brushed out and braided down my back as usual style. I want the audience to recognize you when you're in the arena, says Senna dreamily. Katniss, the girl who was on fire. It crossed my mind that Senna's calm and normal demeanor makes a complete madman. Despite the morning revelation about Peeta's character, I'm actually relieved when he shows up dressed in the identical costume. He shows how he should know about the fire being a baker's son-in-law. His stylist, Portia, and her team accompany him, and everyone is absolutely giddy with excitement over what a splash will make, except Senna. He seems a bit wary as he accepts congratulations. So why would he be wary? I mean, there's a lot going on in here, but, are there reasons that you think that he would be wary? Why would you be wary if you were in his position? Also, how do you think Katniss feels at this point? She's been poked and prodded, and really, she's being displayed as a piece of meat, because the people who are going to the games are going in there to die. It's like with Thanksgiving when we go and get turkeys. If we decorated them all up and we made them walk around and strut for us, and then we killed them. We're whisked down to the bottom level of the Remake Center, which is essentially a gigantic stable. The opening ceremonies are about to start. Pairs of tributes are being loaded into chariots pulled by teams of 4 horses. Ours are coal black. The animals are so well trained, no one even needs to guide their reins. Senna and Portia direct us into the chariot and carefully arrange our body positions, the drape of our capes moving off to consult with each other. What do you think? I whispered to Peeta about the fire. I'll rip off your cape if you'll rip off mine, he says, through gritted teeth. Deal. Maybe if we can get them off soon enough, we'll avoid the worst burns. It's bad, though. They'll throw us into the arena no matter what condition we're in. I know, we promised Haymitch we'd do exactly what they said, but I don't think he considered this angle. Where is Haymitch anyway? Isn't he supposed to protect us from all this sorts of things? Says Peeta. With all the alcohol in him, it's probably not advisable to have him around an open flame, I say. And suddenly, we're both laughing. I guess we're both so nervous about the games, and more pressingly, petrified of being turned into human torches, we're not acting sensibly. The opening music begins. It's easy to hear. Blasted around the Capitol, massive doors slide open, revealing the crowd-lined streets. The ride lasts about 20 minutes and ends up at the city circle, where they will welcome us, play the anthem, and escort us to the training center, which will be our home/prison until the games begin. Why would she say that it's going to be a home/prison? It is because they're going to be living there, but they also can't leave. It's not like at home where you want to go out to the park, you're going to leave. No. You're staying there, or some peacekeepers are going to kick you behind, you know? Okay. Let's go back in. The tributes from District 1 ride out in a chariot pulled by snow-white horses. They look beautiful, spray-painted silver and tasteful tunics, glittered with jewels. District 1 makes luxury items for the Capitol. You can hear the roar of the crowd. They're always favorites. District 2 gets in position to follow them. In no time at all, we're approaching the door, and I can see between the overcast sky and the evening hour, the light has turned gray. The tributes from District 11 are rolling out when Senna appears with a lighted torch. Here we go, then, he says, and before we can react, he sets our capes on fire. I gasp, waiting for the heat, but there's only a faint tickling sensation. Senna climbs up before us and ignites our headdresses. He lets out a sigh of relief. It worked. Then he gently tucks his hand under my chin. Remember, heads high, smile, they're going to love you. Senna jumps off the chariot and has one last idea. He shouts something about us, but the music drowns him out. He shouts again and gestures. What's he saying? I ask Peeta. For the first time, I look at him and realize that, ablaze with the flames, he is dazzling, and I must be too. I think he said for us to hold hands, says Peeta, and he grabs my right hand and his left, and we look to Senna for confirmation. He nods and gives a thumbs up, and that's the last thing I see before we enter the city. The crowd's initial alarm at our appearance quickly changes to cheers and shouts of District 12! Every head is turned our way, pulling the focus from the 3 chariots ahead of us. At first, I'm frozen. Then I catch the sight of us on the large television screen, and I'm floored by how breathtaking we look. In deepening twilight, the firelight illuminates our faces. We seem to be leaving a trail of fire off the flowing capes. Senna was right about the minimal makeup. We both look much more attractive, but utterly recognizable. Remember, heads up, smiles, they're going to love you. I hear Senna's voice in my head. I lift my chin a bit higher, put the most winning smile, and wave my free hand. I'm glad I now have Peeta to clutch for balance. He is so steady, solid as a rock. As I gain confidence, I actually blow a few kisses to the crowd. The people of the Capitol are going nuts, showering us with flowers, shouting our names, our first names, which they have bothered to find on the program. Their pounding music, the cheers, the admiration work their way into my blood. I can't suppress my excitement. Cinna has given me a great advantage. No one will forget me, not my look, not my name, Katniss, the girl who was on fire. For the first time, I feel a flicker of hope rising in me. Surely there must be one sponsor willing to take me on, and with a little extra help, some food, the right weapon, why should I count myself out of the games? Someone throws me a red rose. I catch it, give it a delicate sniff, blow a kiss back in the general direction of the giver. 100 hands reach up to catch my kiss, as if it were the real and tangible thing. Katniss! Katniss! I can hear my name being called from all sides. Everyone wants my kisses. It's not until we enter the city circle that I realize I must have completely stopped the circulation in Peeta's hand. That's how tightly I've been holding it. I look down at our linked fingers and loosen my grasp, and he regains his grip on me. No, don't let go of me, he says, the firelight flickering off his blue eyes. Please, I might fall out of this thing. Okay, I say, so I keep holding on, but I can't help feeling strange about the way Cinna has linked us together. It's not really fair to present us as a team, then lock us into an arena to kill each other. The 12 chariots fill the loop of the city circle. On the building that surrounds the circle, every window is packed with the most prestigious citizens of the capital. Our horses pull a chariot right up to President Snow's mansion, and we come to a halt. The music ends with a flourish. The president, a small, thin man with paper white hair, gives the official welcome from a balcony above us. It is the traditional to cut away to the faces of the tributes during the speech, but I can see on the screen that we are getting way more than our share of airtime. The darker it becomes, the more difficult it is to take your eyes off our flickering. When the national anthem plays, they do make an effort to do a quick cut to each pair of tributes, but then the camera holds on District 12 chariot as it parades around the circle one final time and disappears into the training center. The doors have just shut behind us when we're engulfed by our prep teams, who are nearly intelligible as they babble out praise. As I glance around, I notice a lot of other tributes are shooting us dirty looks, which confirms what I suspected. We've literally outshone them all. Then Cinna and Portia are there, helping us down from the chariot, carefully removing our flames caps and our headdresses. Portia extinguishes them in some kind of spray from a canister. I realize I'm still glued to Peeta and force my stiff fingers to open. We both massage our hands. Thanks for keeping a hold of me. I was getting a little shaky there, says Peeta. It didn't show, I tell him. I'm sure no one noticed. I'm sure they didn't notice anything, but you wear flames more often, he says. They suit you, and then gives me a smile that seems so genuinely sweet. With just the right touch of shyness, then unexpected warmth rushes through me. A warning bell goes off in my head. Don't be so stupid. Peeta is planning to kill you. How to kill you? I remind myself. He is luring you in to make you easy prey. The more likable he is, the more deadly he is. But because to complete this game, I stand on my tippy toe and kiss his cheek, right on his bruise. Dun dun dun. So now I want you to think about what we just read in Chapter 5 and try to make a prediction on what you think will happen in Chapter 6. And we'll be reading Chapter 6 together on either Monday or Tuesday. And for those of you who are supposed to be presenting, please make sure that you have your who, what, when, where, how ready to go, and 2 questions to guide the discussion, because you'll be taking up 5 minutes apiece for each chapter. Okay, have a great day, guys.